The first day of Eagles training camp is officially done, and a lot to discuss here regarding the players, regarding the coaches, what was being said. A lot happened on the field. It's the first day. Take everything with a grain of salt. Don't go overboard. We're going to go over it all, so let's get straight into it.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
What is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. So a lot to discuss between Eagles training camp. We got to push the brakes a little bit, because it's the first day. Okay, a lot of things are going to happen. We need to wait a few weeks. We need these guys to produce. We need these guys to get as many reps as possible before we start attacking these players for not playing well and not being what they're supposed to be. We just need to kind of back up a little bit, wait a few more weeks, see what things are not consistent and what things are consistent, good or bad, and then it will tell the story due time. But Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman had a press conference on a few things and talking about two players in general. Nakobe Dean is on the PUP list, which he will not count against the roster right now. Well, they'll fill his spot up, and we know the situation with Nakobe Dean with the patellar tendon injury, and there's no timetable on his return, and it's probably going to be a while. So I wouldn't make a big deal about it. It's probably gonna, I don't know how long it's going to take, but Nakobe Dean's going to be out for a bit, and we'll see what happens later on. When you talk about Jahad Campbell, Campbell is going to be a physical specimen on this team. Okay, he was ready for practice today. He was not on the PUP list after Vic Fangio told us that he was going to not return until mid-August. He returned for the first day of training camp. Nick Sirianni did talk about how Jahad Campbell really worked his tail off to get to this first training camp practice, and he made it. Jahad Campbell played second team next to Small Munden. He played off-ball linebacker, had a deflection. He actually blitzed Jalen Hurts on a play, deflected the ball as well, and then see him kind of doing some of these linebacker drills. There was a scoop drill, and there was just some type of drills where he's ripping through bags and things like that, and he just looks so good. And I mean, I can't wait to see this guy in full pads, him and Bond being a nice tandem for the year. I didn't think he was going to be back this early. I figured he would have been gone for at least a week, a few days or something like that. But for him to show up for the first practice and seeing what he could do, the strength is there, the versatility is there, the athletic ability is just, it's insane. And I know everybody was kind of foaming out the mouth just watching him practice today, and wish I could have been there because it would have been a sight. Now, Howie Roseman did talk about, obviously, upgrading this roster if he has to, okay? He's talking about we have 13 draft picks next year, and, we could use these draft picks for this year. Howie Roseman is obviously going to be in a wait-and-see approach type thing with this roster, and obviously we'll get feedback from the coaching staff on players that are maybe specific positions that we're hoping, or they've been hoping that specific players are going to take some spots, get some starting jobs. And if that doesn't happen, the Eagles might be going out and making trades. I feel like they will make one trade in mid to late August before the season starts, and most of the time they do that. The Eagles got a lot of ammo when it comes to draft capital, so if the Eagles really need to make a move that badly out of desperation because either you have an injury to a spot where you have nothing behind it, then yeah, you go pull the trigger on something, and possibly that could happen. Or the Eagles might get a luxury type player. So a lot is riding on a few positions, and we're going to have to see and find out. The one thing I have to respect from them the most at this press conference is that they talked about the best man's going to win the job. There's no veteran favoritism. They want to throw young players in the fire and see what they can do. Are they going to sink? Are they going to swim? Or are they going to really take it to the next level? And, last year they really had no choice. They had a young roster even last year, Fangio's first year, and look what he turned these players into. A lot of these players, whether they're rookies, whether they're second years, I mean, absolutely fantastic. They don't even care if they have an older vet that has more experience than a younger player that's on the roster right now. They are willing to throw these young players into the fire and produce them. And I'm so glad they said this, because that's how you keep a championship run going year by year by year. As long as you're drafting well, you're signing pretty safe free agents, and you're being careful financially, and you have the right coaches to coach these guys up. sky's the limit. So I want to go through the injury report for training camp for the first day. And whatever names you see, there's nothing serious about any of these injuries. They've already announced that there's nothing serious about them. So let's kind of go through it. So the guys that did not practice at all. So Jalen Carter did not practice, shoulder injury. So nothing, crazy, just something very little, something small. It's going to pass by in a few days, couple days, whatever. Let Jalen Carter rest for a few days. He's not missing that much time. So Carter will be out. You got Kenyon Green. He has a knee issue, apparently. I don't know if it was from the summer. He got hurt during the summer workouts, I guess, or something. There was rumors on that. I know he's wearing a sleeve on one of his legs, so obviously, he's dealing with a nagging injury as of right now. And remember, Kenyon Green, this is the guy we traded for, the former first-round pick that when we traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to the Houston Texans. And then you had Cam Jurgens that was just resting. He had a little bit of a back thing going on. And it seems like Jurgens had a back injury of some sort last year when Dickerson had to come in to play center that one game that we had. And that's pretty much it for the injury report. Nothing crazy. There's nothing serious about any of these injuries. These are very light, nothing type injuries. So they'll be back in a couple days, a few days, whatever. They'll probably be back this week. So I wouldn't really worry about it too much. Now, we saw Jordan Davis in the flesh today, and it was kind of scary. There was like a picture that came out. I didn't even know it was him. And yeah, he looks thin, but I definitely heard some of the rumors today that he still weighs over 330 pounds. So must have lost a lot of fat and just leaned up a little bit. But he looks like he's in really good shape, really worked his tail off, because at the end of last season, he definitely didn't look like that. He looked better last season, but he looks way better this year than he did last year. And I can't wait to see him play. I can't wait to see if his pass rush got better, how more elusive is he, and, how much quicker he is. And I think that's really going to help him. We have him for, a fifth-year option this year and the fifth-year option next year. So he's here for 2 more seasons, which is great. And everyone's raving about Jordan Davis and how far he's come so far. So I'm very excited about Jordan Davis. And, once we get those pads on, full pads on, we're going to see him put the work in and see where it's really paying off. Now, we're going to be going over the defense a little bit. So 11 on 11s, okay? So in your nickel package, you had Ringo at cornerback 2, and then opposite side of him was Mitchell. You had Makuba and Sidney Brown actually splitting reps, which was pretty good. So both of those guys getting reps. You had Trotter and Zach Bond as your starting linebackers. Your second team, obviously, was Small Munden, and it was Jahad Campbell right there. You had Ojomo replacing Jalen Carter next to Jordan Davis. And then really going back to your base defense, Cooper DeJean played from the inside corner spot, and he had some snaps at safety. It looks like they're trying to keep him on the field, okay? They can find a backup inside corner depending on, what defense they're in. They want to move Cooper DeJean around, because if they see him as a safety as of right now a lot more, keeping him on the field and really using DeJean for specific matchups every single week. I mean, to be that versatile type moving piece, I'm all for it. I really am. I mean, he's smart enough to do it. He's capable. He could tackle. He could do almost anything. He can cover. So I'm thinking, you have a lot of versatile type pieces on this defense, moving guys around. God forbid you have an injury and you have to, kind of make a switch. It's not really going to affect the defense that much. The more versatility you have with your defense, the better off you're going to be. Now, I know that Quinyon Mitchell, the #1 corner for the Philadelphia Eagles, faced A.J. Brown today and had a pass breakup on him. So he seems like his game is just getting better and hasn't really lost a beat on the first day of training camp. And it looks like JALYX Hunt even had a better day, I think, with a sack, I think, past Jordan Mailata today. And this is what Jordan Mailata had to say, quote unquote. He says he's going to be special, man. His burst, he has tendencies like Micah Parsons, just to be able to cut on a dime like that. How did I go from Josh Sweat to JALYX? It's crazy. I'm like, Howie, give me a break for 1 year. Jesus, JALYX is going to be a star, man. That is really cool to hear. I have to say, that's a really good sign. Lane Johnson talked about Joshua Uche, and now Jordan Mailata is really talking about JALYX Hunt really coming into his own, reminding him of Micah Parsons and obviously his change of direction, how fast he is on the edge and how physical he's gotten. And You know, he started late in the season last year, late in the rotation, and then really came into his own once he hit the playoffs. He just went crazy in the playoffs. So JALYX Hunt's the biggest gem on this defense. I mean, that is really at an uprise. I mean, really quick. And it's all Vic Fangio and how he uses these players. So really glad to hear JALYX Hunt's name a lot throughout this first day of training camp. Now, it looks like the offense kind of tested Keely Ringo a little bit. And obviously, Keely Ringo is a big part of this situation at cornerback, too, because we're really relying on him to win that job. And he had a rough day the first day. McKee threw a perfect sideline pass at Terrace Marshall, the former second round pick that, hasn't really lived up to the ability of being what he's supposed to be. And, he tore it up at Eagles training camp for the first day. Even A.J. Brown had some things to say about Terrace Marshall, quote unquote. Terrace Marshall is going to make the wide receiver room very uncomfortable, and that's a great thing in terms of added competition. I mean, finally, like, we need a depth receiver to really step up in this room, like, really bad. We really do. Whether it's Aniyah Smith, whether it's Johnny Wilson, and yes, McKee had a really good play throwing to Johnny Wilson, finding him open. So I thought McKee had a good day. Johnny Wilson, didn't drop a ball for once, which is really good. But Terrace Marshall is really making everybody uncomfortable. He's really pushing this wide receiver group on the back end and has a lot of experience. He's been on the field before. And, if that's the case, then great. Terrace Marshall tearing it up, I have no issue with it. Somebody's got to step up. And if it's him or anybody else, I hope more do step up when the time comes. Not only did Keely Ringo give up a pass to Terrace Marshall, but he was on A.J. Brown, and Keely Ringo actually had really good coverage on A.J. Brown. It was a contested catch, and A.J. Brown just snagged it. I mean, Jalen Hurts threw a perfect ball, and that was pretty much it. Like, it's very hard. When A.J. Brown is covered, he's open. That's just how it is, and iron sharpens iron. The more reps that Keely Ringo is going to get, the better he's going to be. And there's already people on X and on these other social media accounts that are really just giving up on Ringo after one day. And this is Eagles Nation literally every single time we hit training camp for the first day. Now, it looks like Will Shipley had one pretty good run today. And apparently from what everyone said at practice, that he looks pretty shifty. He's got a lot of big bursts of speed from the backfield, which is really good. But A.J. Dillon actually took the first team reps, in front of Will Shipley. Like I said, first day of training camp, so don't take it too seriously. But I'm waiting to hear more from Will Shipley and see, how better he's gotten after another offseason program, or at least another offseason of training while we hit this training camp as of right now, because we really do need him. You know what I mean? Like, Will Shipley is on a multi-year contract. I think as a dual threat running back, he would be perfect. Even Saquon Barkley had some things to say about Will Shipley. Even asked, can Will Shipley take over Kenneth Gainwell's role? And he said, quote unquote, Saquon said, nah, he definitely can. Saquon also said Shipley is the smartest running back in the running back room. And he says, kind of pisses me off how smart he is, to be honest. So I know guys aren't just saying things to say things. Will Shipley showed us he's got that burst of speed. He even showed us that he could be in the passing game and be a complete big mismatch. I think he could be better than Kenneth Gainwell, with obviously more time under his belt. We just have to give it more time. When it comes to the fullback position, because remember, Jeffrey Lurie did talk about on WIP not too long ago that they're reviving that position. And I think Ben Van Simeron's the only fullback they're playing there right now, because I figured there was going to be a few other guys they've wanted to play fullback, but I think they want to use Ben Van Simeron purely. I think one carry he had today, and he looks really fast. And I was surprised last year when they threw a pass to him. And if they could get kind of produce him as a really big weapon for us, and he has to play the position more because he was very new to it last year, and we tried using other fullbacks. It just didn't work. I think it's going to be a good thing, and it's going to make our offense look different, and Patul will have more, you can't look the same as last year in 24. You got to switch some things up, and I think a fullback should definitely be more involved to make the offense, kind of catch the defense off guard a little bit from different things that you're going to be using this year in the 25 season. Now, the one thing we've been waiting for is special teams, because you got no punt returner, and really both your kick return spots are wide open. And pretty much what they had at punt return so far was they had Cooper DeJean, they had Jahan Dotson, Aniyah Smith, Giles Jackson, and Taylor Morin. The issue I have right now is, why is Jahan Dotson on punt returns? Why is Cooper DeJean on punt returns? I thought Fangio didn't want Cooper DeJean on punt returns. Like, look, I get it. If you need an emergency type guy because it's, maybe we're losing by 2 points or something, and you need like that one kick return with fucking 10 seconds left, and I completely get it. But you want to keep Jahan Dotson off that as much as possible. You want to keep Cooper DeJean off that, because I know Fangio doesn't want that anyway, like I said. So Giles Jackson, obviously the tryout player from Washington. I mean, he's one that I really want to see on punt return and kick return. So, I mean, first day of special teams, we're not getting the full gist of who they really want there. But as the days go on, the weeks go on, we'll get to see really like who's going to look good on kick return. We'll see in the preseason games what they do, who they put there, and we'll kind of figure it out ourselves. But don't put any valued starters like Jahan Dotson or Cooper DeJean and on special teams. You don't want to lose either one of those guys. First day of training camp is done. Let me know in the comment section below, who are you excited for? What are you worried about? Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you hit the like button for more Eagles news, because it helps out the channel tremendously. You guys have a fantastic day. I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up, Flower Slide? Peace out, guys. Peace.